Hi guys, I promised to give you Hi guys, as I promised, here is a tutorial on how to create a scrambled photo reference for your watercolor painting. This is the example that I made, and I'm going to lead you step by step on how I made it. First of all, you need to find a photo that you would like to use. And I had a nice magazine that I brought from Ecuador with beautiful views of Ecuador, different cities. This is Saraguro, this is Guayaquil. And after you found several photos, you need to create a little viewfinder, a frame, measurement 3 by 4. So mine is 3 by 4 inches. You can use centimeters, whatever. What is important here is the proportions. One side in reference to another side, the proportion should be 3 to 4. Okay, so that's important. Next step, you start placing that viewfinder that you have to cut out. You kind of have to move it around the picture, trying to find the place that would interest you. And in this particular picture, nothing interested me. I thought it was kind of boring with so many repeating shapes, such as these stripes. So I started looking at this picture, and at first it looked appealing, but then also while moving my viewfinder around, I realized that all the shapes are kind of all very similar and kind of very small. So that didn't particularly interest me. I started looking more at the photos of some urban landscape, and this one was interesting, but not too much to me. And this was my favorite so far, but I had a problem here. So this image was a little bit smaller than my frame. So hopefully you will just find the ideal image that would fit exactly into your frame. I decided I'll create a smaller frame. So if that happens to you, I want to show you how I did the frame a little bit smaller, but with the same ratio, the same proportion, side to side, 3 to 4. So this is my 3 to 4 viewfinder, and underneath, under it, there is a little bit smaller frame that I made. So as you can see, I'm moving it, and that's the one underneath is a little bit smaller. And I'm going to show you how I made it. So as you can see, this one fits my picture. How do you make it? So 3 by 4, your original viewfinder that you make, you take it and put it on a clean piece of paper and trace it. So you have this original opening 3 by 4, and then you make a diagonal from one corner to another corner. Draw the diagonal line. And then with the ruler, just kind of see how much you need how much smaller you need to make the opening, and make the line that would be parallel to the line of your original opening. So make this line exactly parallel. There is no measuring needed in this case. So you just make a parallel line, and where it crosses the diagonal from this point, you put your ruler right there and make another line. Just very important that both lines would be parallel to existing lines of the openings. So now we have this smaller opening. It's not 3 by 4 anymore, it's smaller. I didn't even measure it because it's kind of, all the numbers are just math. So, but anyway, I'm sure if you decide to go for it, you will figure it out. So this is the photograph again. And here is my image. Now it's when you place your frame over the image and then completely covers it, and there is no black space as this was before with 3 by 4. And this is now my smaller frame. It covers all the image completely, and you can move it around a little bit just to see which exact placement you want, and then cut it out, cut your image out. See, I'm cutting my image with the scissors. And yeah, so just kind of now we have to, I attached to the little bit of the tape on the face of the image, so it doesn't move around, because now it's the most challenging part is to divide it into 12 squares. And I recommend that you do not draw lines on the front of the image, because then you don't really want to have this pencil marks on the squares that you're going to paint from. So it's a little bit more complicated, but it's you get better result after all. So what I did, this is the back of the image. So I did all the measuring line on my frame, and then I just kind of put my ruler over to match up with the marks on the frame and drew lines with the pencil over the image. What I also did, okay, so this is when I took my image off the frame. Now you can see that when it was still attached to the frame, I made the little marks on the front. So this is the corner. This is the corner where the frame was touching it in the front, and this is the corner, and this is little corner. You can see little marks, right? So now this is the back. If it's sometimes hard to see these pencil marks, so kind of you have to have good lighting so you can see them. And you can just cut these lines with the scissors. And this is the lines that I cut, just parallel vertical strips. And this is the back of my image. And now this is the front of my image. And it looks like some of the, still, as much as I tried to make them even, it looks like some of them are a little bit wider than others. Oops. So what happens here? So on the left, it was before, and this is after. So what is happening, like I see that this is the widest part of the image, and what I did, I cropped it a little bit. So here on the left, you can see that all of them approximately the same width, they're closer. So I chopped with scissors a little bit on this side, which is, you can see here, this is wider. It will be okay. Now I cut my vertical strips, each one in 3 squares. So now I have 12 total squares. So now playing with the squares is the most fun part. And starting putting all the squares together, but in a different location. So kind of you rotate them around, you turn them upside down, you switch them places with each other, finally till you find the composition that you like the most. And what we're looking in the composition, we're looking for balance and interest, visual interest. We're looking for the way that squares help our eyes move around and around. And so, yeah, so the first one wasn't that great. Second one also I wasn't happy with. So finally, after several attempts of location, I think this was the best, that I liked the most. And I started gluing them on together. So you guys, before you glue them, before you use the glue, and I recommend using glue stick, before you glue them all together, please consult with me. Please take a photograph of what you have and send it to me, and then we'll discuss. Maybe something needs to be changed or adjusted. And then only after I approved your squares, after that, you start gluing them. All right? So here is the gluing process. So this is the part that I cut out when I was making my viewfinder. This is the inside part. And just one by one, moving them from here where they're just laying on the table and gluing them with the glue stick. So here's my glue stick. And when you glue them, make sure that there is no white spaces between them. Okay, so this is what I got. No white spaces. All the squares, they're kind of going snug to each other. And also make sure that you're trying to make this line parallel. So try, here you see a little bit of jump here. So try not to make this happen. Try to make all these lines kind of going together. In one line here, one line there. All right. And then, as you can see, because I messed up here a little bit with my math, trying to make everything a bit smaller, here is a little bit of extra white space. So it's okay, you can just live with it. if you are a perfectionist like me a little bit, you can cut out a little mat, like what I did. So I just had some black paper around in the house. If you don't have any nice black paper like I did, you can just cut a white paper, another opening, which would cover this white edges that I had. Here we have them, here we don't. So this is the my final step for creating a photo reference, scrambled photo reference for our watercolor paper. So next step will be painting. So what you need to do for painting, we have here 4 squares this way, 3 squares this way. You need to divide your watercolor paper in the same manner, 3 by 4. But in your case, the squares will be larger. I don't know what kind of size of paper you're using. If you're using 18 by 24 paper, your squares will be 6 inches long. If you're using smaller paper, you'll have to figure it out. Send me an email with questions about that if you have any questions. But I think you all will figure it out all right. And just when you draw the squares, remember to draw with the very light pencil marks. And just start sketching every shape you see in every square. And the result will be kind of an abstract painting with some elements of realism. That, for example, we will figure out that here is some kind of elements of architecture. But we will try to stay as realistic as we can, all right? And for some people it will be more realistic, for some people it will be less realistic, but in any cases it will be an interesting painting. And this is our project 1. So thank you everybody for listening, and I hope everybody is staying safe and healthy, and you please take care of yourself and your loved ones. And I will see you online in the next video, or we can talk on the phone if you want to chat with me. Please stay everybody safe. Talk to you later. Bye bye.